Hello everybody, and this is NLP Radio on stream. We are having in our studio today Alexander Gerasimov.
Hello.
Hello, Alexander, and Eugene. Hi, Eugene. Would you please introduce your name and surname for our listeners? And actually, what are you expert in? What do you work with?
All right. So, Dobry den. I hope I said that correct. Hello, everybody. My name is Eugen Popa. I'm from Romania. I'm the president of the Romanian Hypnosis Association, and I'm working with hypnosis and NLP, and have done so for over 15 years now. I like very much to use parts therapy, and it's something I'm using almost every single day with my clients in the sessions. And I use the concept of parts because actually when we're talking about parts, we are talking about many different ways in which you can use parts, many different techniques or methods. As far as I know, until now, there are about 9 different ways of using parts therapy, like parts therapy from NLP, but then you have core transformation, then you have wholeness process, you have Yagerian Method, resource therapy, what is that? Ego state therapy, family constellations. All of these different methods, they actually make use of the concept of parts.
Wow. Okay, great. It looks really magnificent. How about Yagerian Therapy? Let's discuss it today. Okay, shall we?
Right. Yes, so Yagerian Therapy is it was formerly known as subliminal therapy, and was I don't know if I shouldn't say created, but more or less like discovered or stumbled upon by Ed Yager. He was teaching it, and he was traveling and teaching this method for like 40 years. Basically, he died, he passed away a couple of years ago, but he was like 92 or 93 years old, and he was still traveling the world teaching Yagerian therapy.
Okay.
And so I had the great honor to meet him in person. He came to Romania to teach his class. Amazing human being. And he created this method, like I said, many years ago. The way it is working, it's very much based, again, on the concept of parts. But rather than you as a therapist or you for yourself, rather than go and work with a part which is causing the problem, in Yagerian therapy, there is this concept of the central part, which we call centrum. Now, this is not centrum, the medicine that you get in pharmacy, okay, because you have that centrum medicine in pharmacy, but it's another way of thinking of centrum is like your, higher intelligence, if you will, without going into the, spiritual realm or anything like that, but, that, inner mind of yours, which sometimes, whispers some ideas to you, and sometimes you pay attention to it, sometimes you don't.
Right.
That inner mind, that higher intelligence, we would call centrum.
Eugene, I've got a question just before we start going deeper into that.
Yes.
And about this central part. I'd like to ask you which, let's put it like this, which direction of psychology does it refer to? What do we call it? It's not NLP. It's not Gestalt therapy. Which direction would you refer to?
I mean, I don't think it follows a particular direction. Just like, for instance, when you have parts therapy within the hypnosis realm, parts therapy as it has been taught by Charles Tebbets, that was taught within a hypnosis course, a hypnosis class. Ed Yager, he was also practicing and teaching actually hypnosis in the University of San Diego in the USA.
So
but
hypnosis.
he wouldn't say that Yagerian method is part of hypnosis. It was just another method, another way of working with clients. And a very efficient one, very, very easy one, very simple, very easy to explain, and very easy for the clients to follow. And if you want, I can tell you how it's done.
Sure. So now let's get down to the point. Would you please illustrate what is it exactly?
So the best way to understand how Yagerian method works is to think of a wheel, right? So a wheel has the inner hub, the main hub, and then it has spokes, right? Or a pizza. A pizza with many slices, right? So the different slices are the different parts, and then the central part is what we call centrum. Now, when we are working with Yagerian Method, Yagerian Therapy, the client comes in and says, I have a problem. Let's say I have a pain, that won't go away. There is no real physical cause for this pain, but I have this pain in my back and I cannot make it go away. So therefore, it's a psychosomatic pain. So from a perspective of part therapy, or Yagerian therapy for this case, there is a part which causes this pain. And so what we need to do, we need to get in touch with the central part, which is like the big boss, the CEO, the general manager, which controls and oversees all the other managers in the company. So the client would be the owner of the company. The central part of the mind of this person, that central part would be the general manager. And then there is a part within this company called Igor, let's put it that way. There is this part which is causing Igor problems. So instead of me, the therapist, or instead of the client going to find where is that part, or who is that part who's causing me this problem, then we just call the general manager and say, hey, there is a part which is causing this problem for Igor. Go find it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that way, it's very interesting the way it works, because normally the client will try, when I say the client, I say the conscious mind, will try to find an answer. But I tell the client, you Igor, you don't have to do anything. You just wait and the answer will show up. The answer will come to you. When it comes, you just let me know. All right? So the easiest way to do this is to use some imaging techniques. So I tell the client, imagine a surface that you can write on. Mm-hmm. It can be a whiteboard, it can be a blackboard, it can be the window, it can be the computer, it doesn't matter. It can be it can be my notebook, it can be anything. Just imagine a surface you can write on. And the client says, okay, I imagine that, perfect. Now, you, Igor, the conscious mind, go and write the word yes, da, on that surface. Mm-hmm. And the client says, okay, I wrote it. And then I say, okay, now delete it. And he deleted. And then I said, okay, now here's what I want you to do. I want you to do nothing and just look at that whiteboard. Do nothing but just look at it. And when I snap my fingers like so, I will talk to your higher intelligence. I will talk to your central mind, central part of your mind. And then I say, is that clear? And the client says, yes, it's clear. Okay, perfect. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm talking to the central part of Igor's mind, and I'm asking this central part, let's call it centrum. Mm-hmm. I'm asking you, centrum, to write on the whiteboard the word yes. And you, Igor, you tell me when it comes up. And Igor goes, there's a word yes on the board. Oh, perfect. All right. So this way we created a communication with the inner mind of Igor whilst he is actually conscious and aware. Mm-hmm. All right. So the next thing is, to test it, I tell Igor, now go and see if you can erase the word yes from the board, and 9 times out of 10 he won't be able to erase it because he didn't write it. It just showed up. Then I say, okay, now let's talk to your unconscious, let's talk to the central part of your mind, and I say, thank you for being here. And then I ask, the first question is, are you aware of the Igor's problem? And sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. If it says yes, then we move on and try to solve the problem. If it says no, then I just ask Igor in his own mind to state the problem, what he wants to get solved. In our case, a little bit like, I have this problem in my back, I want to get rid of that pain. So now the unconscious mind is aware of the problem, and then what I do is say, okay, now you, centrum, go ahead and find all the parts, or if it's just one, that's fine, the part or the parts which are causing or contributing to Igor's pain. You go and find that, and you, Igor, you do nothing. You just sit and wait. So you, the centrum, you go and find those that part or those parts which are causing this problem for Igor, and when you finished the research, you write on the whiteboard the word yes. And you, Igor, tell me when the word yes comes up on board. And then I just sit and wait, and Igor does too. Normally it's about 15, 20, 30 seconds, not more than that. And then the Igor says, okay. And I ask him, is the word yes on board? And he goes, yes. Perfect. So now we know Centrum has done the search. And then we go and talk to Centrum again and say, now write on the board the number. How many parts did you find that are causing or contributing to Igor's pain or problem? And then, a number will show up on the board. And then Igor will tell me it's number 3. All right, so I'm asking Igor, did you write that number? He goes, no, it just showed up. Perfect. That's it. So now we know how many parts are causing this issue for Igor. So the next step is, hey, Centrum, go and talk to the first part and ask that part, why is it doing this problem for Igor? And tell this part what Igor wants. And 9 times out of 10, this will, solve the issue because, and this is something we also teach in the Yagerian Method courses that we have, basically that part was created as a reaction or response to a situation somewhere in the past. But one of the rules of the mind is we always have permanent reactions to temporary situations.
Yeah, sure. Like
Right.
fixed reaction, sure.
Exactly. But it's like something happens when you are 5 years old, and then if nothing comes in to modify that reaction, you will stay with that for the rest of your life. So from a perspective of parts, we are saying that that particular reaction is caused or created by a part. So now when we talk with Centrum, and Centrum says there are 3 parts which are causing Igor's problem in the back, then we connect to the first one, and then we ask, how old was Igor when you, the part, started doing this job in Igor's life? And Centrum will ask this question and come back with an answer, write the answer on the board, and then Igor will tell me. Right? So the answer will say, let's 5 years old. All right, so Igor is 5 years old. So then what we do is just education. It's like, hey, you know what, Centrum, tell this part that Igor is 45, he's not 5 years old, and he doesn't want to have this problem anymore. Thank you very much. Your job is done. All right. So, I was saying that. Then we tell the part, we tell Centrum to tell the part that thank you very much for the job you've done for Igor when he was 5 years old, but now he's 45 years old and he no longer needs you to do the job. What, again?
It's
What
just
happened?
like breaks, it breaks, then comes back.
1 second.
We hear you perfectly fine right now.
Yeah, but I should hear you in my headphones and I don't. But that's fine, it doesn't matter. All right, so you can hear me, everything is fine, yes?
Yeah. When will be the right time for me to
I'm
specify
finishing the
something?
sentence and then you can ask the question.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, what was I saying? All right, so then we're gonna cut this and then make it nice. All right, so then I tell Centrum, go ahead and tell this part to stop doing what it's been doing for over 40 years because its job is done. It served a purpose when Igor was 5, but now he's 45, and he no longer needs this part to do what it did when he was 5. So it's like you're trying to fit Igor's feet in a 5 years old shoes, and it's causing problems and pain. And then it's very easy from there. It's just communication, and very easy.
Okay, I see. I understand. This how the system should function. The first question may be a little stupid, but still I can't ignore it. Why is the word yes chosen for this kind of work? Why exactly the word yes?
Well, because it's a very easy word to use, and actually, when we do Yagerian therapy, we are trying to keep the communication from Centrum as limited as possible. Not so much of a story or narration, but more like digital answers, yes and no, right? Because
that's how Dr. Jaeger, started using it. Of course, that doesn't mean that you cannot have like a real full-on conversation, but keep in mind with the Centrum, but keep in mind that the client's conscious mind is always present. And by keeping it short answers, you somehow prevent the wishful thinking of the client to jump in and say, I would like this to happen, right? Because, for instance, I had many times I was working with clients whom they said an answer, and I asked them, did this answer come from Centrum or you wrote it? And they said, I wrote it. I was like, bad boy. You should, you're just the witness. You, the client, as long as we are working with Centrum for the entire duration of the session, the conscious mind of the conscious mind of the client should not interfere.
I see. So the principle is just to have it short. The idea is just short word.
Yeah, short for the purpose of preventing interference from the conscious mind of the client.
Right, right. Okay, how long may such a session last? And definitely with different types of people, it will be a bit different results, I presume. I am not sure, because people are very different in the aspect of being affected.
Exactly, exactly. And it's a very good question, and it always makes me smile because these sessions, very often, most often than not, they are not very long. It's 20, 30 minutes, sometimes even less, but sometimes it can last for longer. But they're very short sessions. I mean, like for instance, when I work with a client, they come in, I ask them what's the issue, I do an intake form, I, get some ideas, and I said, okay, now here's what I want you to do. I want you to imagine a surface you can write on. And it's just like, it's very conversational, just like I converse with you right now. You don't even have to close your eyes. And the great stuff about this technique, it is that it is one of those techniques that is content free. I, as a therapist, I don't have to know what the problem is. You don't have to tell me what the problem is. I can work as, quote unquote, blind, and you can come and say, hey, I have this issue. And then I say, okay, well, let's talk with Centrum and see if we can help you with the issue. I don't need to know what the issue is. And this is it's a fantastic tool for many therapists out there who, might not get as many clients as they want because, those clients don't want to, tell their secrets. They maybe are afraid or ashamed or whatever.
So, Eugen, do I understand correctly that this whole dialogue with all those enumerated questions and answers which come lasts about 20-30 minutes average?
Average is a good number, yeah, but it can also last for longer. Sometimes I had sessions with clients that I've done like 2 or 3 sessions using the Yagerian method for some issues. So it's not a set in stone number, but an average session, about 30 minutes probably.
Right, so a client comes to an answer, and what happens next? So the answer is found.
Yeah, so basically what happens when you do Yagerian therapy, it's very much like kind of an education of the part. So this part had a reaction when Igor was 5, and he was trying to fit Igor in his shoes when he was 5, and now he's 45 and he's still trying to to fit him in the same shoes, and that's causing Igor some problems. So then what we have to do, we just have to say, hey, you have to stop doing this. Igor is hurting. He no longer wants or needs your services. So you either come back into the hole of Igor, or you can retreat and dissolve because your job is done. Or you can find a different job which is congruent and is in accordance with current desires and needs and wants of Igor. So like an ecological existence from now on in Igor's life. Yeah, so you can give it a choice, but that's Igor's choice first, and then it's the part choice. So, like, you can ask Igor, so Igor, would you like this part to continue to exist in an ecological way in your life, in a positive, beneficial way in your life? Yes or no? And if Igor says yes, then you deal with the part. If the Igor says no, then you say the part, okay, time to go.
I see. Uh, I'm sure a lot of our listeners have already got interested and would with pleasure try this method. Eugene, how soon usually results come? So how soon can the outcome be already seen?
Right away, right away. It's, I mean,
So the
you,
pain
you,
is
you
gone? You mean straight away? Or
yeah.
little by little after the session it disappears?
It depends. And sometimes what I tell clients, I teach them to do this method by themselves. So let's say the client comes in today and we are doing a session, and then I do the session with them. And then I say, listen, um, for the next week, here's what you need to do to get in touch with Centrum yourself, by yourself. And then I teach them how to do this method by themselves. And then they do it. And then I say, call me again in a week's time and let's see how it goes. And they do. And about 80 to 90% of the times they say, it's way much better. Maybe we should do another session, maybe we don't, but the results are very easy and very fast. They don't take a long time to manifest.
This is very precious aspect, the ability to work independently without a
Yeah,
therapist.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And I had many students who have been using this for themselves or with their clients, and they always come back to me as like, "Wow, I can't believe that actually this worked." Like I tried everything and this works. Now, I have to say that this is not a panacea. It's not one solution to all problems. It
Definitely.
is a powerful method, a very easy, a very simple way of using it, but it won't solve everything for everyone every time. Just to keep that in mind. It's another tool, and it's a very powerful tool, I would say, that every coach, therapist, NLP practitioner, hypnotist should have in their toolbox. Um, and I strongly suggest you do so.
Yeah. Another question. What are maybe particular types of people on who, let us say, therapists must not apply such methods? Are there any kind of forbidden categories of people with whom it probably might not work out? What would you?
I don't think there is a type of person or of problems or of health issues that you cannot use this one because if you want to, I don't know. I mean, if you look at it from a very simple perspective, I would say this is ultimately just a casual communication that you have with a client, with a person, and you just engage their imagination. That's it. And I like I said, I've done this in my session room here, but I've done this, in on a train. I was traveling, or I was, at dinner with friends, and I've done this kind of thing. So, like that's why I said you don't have to be with your eyes closed in a meditative position. You don't have to be laying back. You don't have to anything. You can do it on the phone. You can do it on Skype. You can do it live, face to face. You can do it anyway.
Yeah, it's a great privilege. So, which has almost no restrictions.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you are dealing with, paranoid schizophrenic. Maybe they already have a kind of a out of control imagination. So maybe that would be kind of a be cautious about that. But other than that, I don't think there will be any issues.
How many times have you helped yourself using this type?
I've done a few times, yeah, for sure. I've been using it with several issues, and I always enjoy it. And actually, my wife has also been doing this. She always tells this story that she was, up in the mountains hiking, and she used it because sometimes she got some, she got spooked. like of the heights and whatnot. And then she used this, and right away, she controlled the whole thing. So it's very easy to use on yourself very much
I
as
can
well.
tell that. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? No, it seems very clear. Seems very
Yeah,
clear.
absolutely.
Today you have enriched our knowledge with one more great tool which we have never heard of. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation.
So, dear listeners, if you have any commentaries, anything you would maybe like to ask or add, you are very welcome to put likes, make reposts, and write commentaries down below. And thank you very much, Alexander, Eugene. Hear each other in the next podcast. Bye, gentlemen. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.